Okay, I want to welcome you all. I'm Clarissa Pace, and I want to welcome everyone to the Drew County NAACP Branch 6042 General Membership Meeting. Thank you. This is August the 16th, 2022. This is our regular meeting. And tonight we do have guests with us. So we're going to expedite a little of the business first. And then we are going to go into our great discussion because we have some great representatives here with us on tonight. I need all members to review the agenda so that we can accept the agenda before we go into business. So Secretary, if you'll scroll up and down for me, and then we need to have a motion to accept the agenda tonight. All right, can I get a motion? You'll have to come off mute.
Madam President, I, Lou Lambert, move that we accept the agenda as presented.
I, Vice President Bettina Randolph, accept.
Okay, it's been moved and second by Lou Lambert and Vice President Bettina Randolph to accept the agenda for tonight. Any opposed? All in favor, please go to your chat and comment aye. Thank you. All right. This meeting is officially called to order, and I am going to ask, I'm trying to see, is Minister Jackson on? Miss Lambert, would you go ahead and lead us in prayer tonight? Our religious affairs leader had a ball game tonight.
Yes, dear Heavenly Father, today we say thank you for your mercy and your grace. Thank you for this awesome opportunity to meet as a community. God, we pray that this meeting would be beneficial. God, bless each candidate that's present. God, let everything that we do and what we say be decently and in order and be according to your will and your way. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. I see some that are, thank you so much. I'm going to get to the mission in just a minute. I'm just letting a few more people in and promoting them to panelists. All right. So the mission of the NAACP is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. Now we're going to move on to roll call. If you are present, please put your name in the chat so that our secretary can record you as present. Even our guests can put your name in the chat and then put guest beside it, please. That's if you know how. Okay, let's see.
Hey, this Reverend Buffington, I don't know, it's not letting me do it on my phone.
Okay, that's
kind of try put it in for me, if you will.
I sure
Thanks.
will. And we have some telephone numbers. We don't mind guests being on, but if you are on by telephone, would you please share your name with us so that we can enter it in? We have to still identify everybody on the line in order for you to continue.
Madam President, I'm having the same problem in the chat. I can't put my name in.
Okay.
I am also, mine says disabled.
Huh.
That's what mine is saying.
Okay. Huh. All right, then let's put, that's never happened before. So that's Lena Kennedy. Who else do I need to put in here? Just spoke Stacy Smith. Anyone else? I saw some telephone numbers. Please identify yourself if you are.
I am entering Bertie James.
Okay. All right. Is she 532-3736?
Yes.
Okay. 723-1582. Okay. All right. I'm advancing. Still yet.
Miyoshi Smith.
All right. Thank you. All right, you guys are joining right on in. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. You should have received the minutes for the general membership minutes. Can I please get a motion to accept the minutes as distributed?
Motion to accept the minutes as distributed.
Okay, Pastor Jerome Pace, motion to accept the minutes as distributed. I need a second, please.
I second it, Madam President.
President.
Okay, it's been moved and second by Jerome Pace and Lou Lambert to accept the minutes as distributed. All in favor, vote aye in your chat, please. Any opposed? And if you're not speaking, please mute. Because I can't find you as fast as you are. I can't find you on this. Y'all joining in pretty fast for me this time. I'm about to get somebody else to work this. Okay. All right. On to the next order of business, which is our treasurer's report. Can I get a motion to accept our treasurer's report, please?
I, Vice President Bettina Randolph, move that we accept the treasurer's report.
I, Melanie Ross, second.
It's been moved and second by Vice President Bettina Randolph and Melanie Rawls to accept the treasurer's report as distributed. All in favor, vote aye in your chat, please. All right, any opposed? And we are moving right along. Committee leaders that are on here, can I please, now we are at our committee announcements. If you have an event, would you please make your announcements now? We won't, for all the general body that is here, we won't, because of the nature of the call tonight, we won't go into all of the reports. Each of you should have the reports from the committees and the great activities that's been going on. And it's been some great activity too. I appreciate everybody.
We have an
Yes.
event coming up, a will event, learn how to
Mhm.
write your will. It's an educational event this Saturday, August 20th, starting at 10 a.m. to Monticello.
Okay. All right, will writing education workshop this Saturday, August 20th. And register by, I sent the information out and you can find it on our Facebook page, how to register. Any other announcements?
Yes, ma'am. Anthony Jackson, the Education Committee, Monticello School District will resume on Monday, August the 22nd. And we will observe district-wide open house on this Thursday, the 18th, from 4 to 6 p.m. Would love for you to come out and see what our schools are all about.
All right, thank you so much. All right, any other announcements? Okay, we're moving right along. But there are no more announcements, and unfinished business is our 77th Arkansas State Convention, which is coming up September 16th and 17th. We already have our delegates and our alternates have been submitted, and we're looking forward to being at our state meeting. So that has been taken care of. The next order of business is our branch election. I'm going to get the secretary to help us out to explain. This is our election year too. So the offices are open for president, vice president, secretary, assistant secretary, treasurer, assistant treasurer, and for members at large. And so if you want to run for any one of those offices, the secretary is going to, we'll be back on in September, and she's going to give details on how the process goes and the dates that have been set for the voting. Go ahead, Secretary.
Okay, good evening, everyone. As President stated, this is our branch election, and we have some procedures that we must follow. Everyone will be getting a notice concerning whether or not you would like to run for officer, along with the dates that we will have the nominating committee, which is in September. We will have to select a nominating committee. And then in October, the nominating committee will be presenting their reports on who will be running for officer. And then in November, we will have the election. The dates, we also have to, as the secretary, the assistant secretary and I will be giving that notice out 10 days before the regular meeting in September. Those dates are September the 20th. So you will be getting notification via email and mail. Then in October is October the 18th. And then November is our election, is November the 15th. And so you will be, as president stated, our office are open. So we encourage you all to run for the office that you desire.
All
That's
righty.
my report, President.
All right, thank you so much. And the next order of business, we're ready to go into our, just to let you know, is that in September, we are hosting our local candidates on and our state representative candidates tonight. But in September, we will be back. On our general membership meeting, and then we're going to go to some of the state candidates who will be joining in with us to share their platform as well. Is there anything that I left out before we move on to the next part of our meeting on tonight? Okay. Well, without further ado, this is what we've been waiting on. And I'm pretty excited about it. So everybody relax, because I know I'm almost not relaxed for a change. I can't believe that, but I just appreciate everybody who accepted our opportunity to share your platform and to speak to the NAACP local branch. We're really excited that you accepted our invitation, that you are here tonight. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce each office. My intent tonight is not only to just introduce you, but to educate the public as well. There are times I'm talking to people in the community and they still don't understand the positions, the duties that are carried out in what you are doing and what you are running for. So I'm going to give a little summary, then I'm going to introduce you all short, and then I'm going to allow you to share your introduction if I left anything off, and all of that, okay? So the first thing is I want to just talk a little bit about the mayoral office, or the mayor's office. It's a top executive office in the city, municipal or town government, and the mayor oversees public works departments like the fire department, the police department, emergency medical and utility services. There are other things that mayor's responsibilities include, like attending town council meetings and proposing and debating initiatives, casting votes, and speaking to constituents at meetings, concerned about the public safety, public service departments. There's a great task for this position. And as I was looking, I saw that mayors also should possess the following skills, like communication, decision-making, economic development, empathy, leadership, financial management skills, negotiating skills, persuasion, and public administration. That's a lot. And so some people don't understand the scope of this position. And I just want to make sure that you see that this is a heavy task. And so any candidate that you choose, you need to consider what the duties and responsibilities are. As a sheriff is an official, is an official in a county and independent city responsible for keeping the peace and enforcing the law. The sheriff's office is responsible for carrying out orders of the court, to enforce injunctions, serve warrants, the service of out-of-county protection from abuse orders, writs of summons and complaints, subpoenas, and writs of attachments and garnishments, and probably a whole lot more that we haven't spoken about tonight. And then we have the Arkansas House of Representatives, which has 10 standing committees, okay, for Arkansas. And tonight what affects us is District 94. So we have the candidates that are running for that office on the line. And the main role of the House of Representatives is that it functions, it's a central function, and set laws and amendments and changes to existing laws, and represents us in the state as votes are taken with our governor. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that, because there's a whole lot that you can say. And so I want to welcome all of these gentlemen, just happen to be all gentlemen this time, who are running for office. And I want to welcome each one of them and give them anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to talk to you about themselves, why you should elect them as your candidate of choice. And I thought I would have somebody on here that at least couldn't arrest me tonight for how this went, but look like everybody on here is in law enforcement. It makes me nervous. But thank you so much. So I think we're going to start with let's start with our sheriffs. Now, here's what I know. I'm going to give this little short introduction because I didn't take the time to go through and find out wives, names, children. But what I know about everyone on this call is that they are husbands, they are fathers, they have already been community leaders, they are actively involved in the community. Some are already in the position and have had the experience, of doing these things. And so I'm just going to let them go ahead and share. And we're going to start with, how about we start with Mr. James Slaughter? We'll start with the sheriff's race, and then we will give each of you your time, and we'll come back around and we'll have questions and answers. All right, Mr. Slaughter, it's your time.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to be here and speak and get my ideas and the reason I'm running for sheriff. Like I said, my name is James Slaughter. I began my law enforcement career in 2011 for Drew County Sheriff's Department. Worked there as a deputy until 2014. I left there, went to Monticello Police Department. In 2017, I was promoted to narcotic investigator for Monticello Police Department. Worked at the narcotic investigator until April of 2019. In April of 19, I was assigned to the drug task force, which is where I worked 5 counties. I worked the whole 10th district, and pretty much anything that involves felony drugs, I receive a call or I'm involved with it somehow in some way. The reason I'm running for sheriff is I've got a lot of good ideas. I've heard from the community. I've been talking to the citizens. I believe it's going to take the ideas from the citizens and the law enforcement to make it, continue to be a great place in Drew County. One of my number one goals is getting training and classes in the schools with the kids. They need some guidance. They need somebody that they can rely on. We need to get the law enforcement interactive with the children. We need to work with the teachers, get training out there with them. The teachers are the ones that's actually raising our kids most of the time, especially during the school year. I think that's a big priority, is the training, interact with the students, get something in there so the students, we can help them as they grow up to identify with what we work with. A lot of people think with the drugs, with me being with drug task force, that I'm going to work strictly on drugs. Drugs will be a big part of my job when elected sheriff. If you take out the drugs, I believe you're going to take out at least 80% of the crime in Drew County. There will be more than just crimes involved with drugs, but I believe that'll be a big start. And I believe the drug dealers are what we need to focus on. I also intend on building a great investigative team. And when I'm not saying that Drew County does not have a good investigator, but I want every deputy, every employment of Drew County to be able to investigate up to a certain amount. Investigator, we're going to have professionals in each division, but a totality of all the deputies will be trained to be able to investigate. We don't just have to wait around for one investigator. Anybody that shows up will be handled a business. Let's get in, let's work together, let's get what needs to be done. I have a great relationship with all the surrounding counties, meaning with any law enforcement in the surrounding counties, I can pick up the phone, make a call. I have a great work relationship with the state police, DEA. Alone, I think that's enough. Not that Drew County won't be good enough to utilize the situation, but why not use the resources we can get from state police, from the DEA, from the FBI? Let's use what we can. Let's take advantage of it, and let's just try to make it better. And like Ms. Pace also said, enforce the law. Our job as sheriff and as law enforcement police officers, enforce the law. If we're not enforcing the law, then we're not doing our job. It's just how I look at it. She also advised to serve warrants, serve petition orders. One of my goals is going to be to collect fees, restitution, fines, the paper process part of it. We need to get out there, get the paper system in our system straightened up, cleaned up, and get the part of that taken care of also. And that's kind of the majority. I'm going to let the other candidates speak on that now.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Slaughter. Next, we're going to have Mr. Tim Nichols.
Good evening. I'm
Good
Tim
evening.
Nichols. I'm running for Drew County Sheriff. I'm a father. As Ms. Pace said, I'm a father, husband. I believe in the community. I've been in law enforcement since 2007, where I've served parole, criminal investigations, and various other things as far as administration and training and different things. But the biggest thing is family, and it's community. And with family, no matter what your name is, no matter where you're from, we all have a family that we love and we care about. Drew County, we're a big family. The old saying is, it takes a village. We need to build that village up. That's what I want to do. I want to establish an administration within the Drew County Sheriff's Office that's community oriented, but also knows how to enforce the law and do what needs to be done, but also have the compassion and open door policy to deal with the public and talk to citizens. If there's a problem, come sit down with us. Let's discuss it. Let's see what we can do. All right. We can't do anything by ourselves, not correctly. We've got to do it together. Okay. I believe that, yes, drugs are a huge issue. They're a huge issue. There are more kids at the age of 13 that are using narcotics, 14 years old, testing positive for narcotics. It's crazy. They watch their parents, shoot up narcotics, smoke it, whatever. We've got to have better enforcement on that. We've got to have the educational system. We've got to look at it. Drew Central has a school resource officer. That's a great thing. We've got to be more proactive in the schools. We've got to do more within the schools, not just Drew Central, but Monticello as well. Drew County Sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer of that county. That does not mean that we don't work with the other agencies and we don't work with the chief or the sergeants or whoever else, campus police, whatever. We've got to build those relationships up. And that's what I want to do. But we've got to do it together. The sheriff's office, the sheriff is a constitutional office. It's an elected position. I know a lot of people speak on the Second Amendment and everything else. But what's the Second Amendment if you don't have the first, second, third, fourth, 14th? All of them matter, and that's what we're going to hold to. Okay. Our youth, future. I've been out in the community, various parts of Monticello and Drew County. Our youth need us. Our families need us. We need to be there for them. But as I said, I want to work for you. I want to work for your families. So I'm going to hand it over to Pace. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next, we're going to have our incumbent, which is Sheriff Mark Gober. Go ahead, Mr. Gober.
Put these glasses on now. Thank you, Miss Clarissa. And in other place, G. I came in off and I prepared something. I normally shoot from the hip, but I prepared something, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I came in office in 2005. Ever since then, we had great working relationships with the state, local, and federal agencies. In our last NAACP meeting, I said, somebody said something, I said, you know, it does take a village. It takes people to reach across, just like law enforcement needs to reach across. Everybody needs to reach out to each other for help, because law enforcement is always here to help. And sometimes we need guidance or someone to just ask us. When I first came on, I had 6 patrol deputies. Over time, I was able to increase that by 10 deputies. We've improved our equipment, our vehicles and radio systems. Drew County was the first county law enforcement agency in the state of Arkansas to go digital from analog. It was mandatory, but I took the step. We were the first one. We did place a school resource officer in Drew Central with the help of former superintendent, Mr. Billy Williams. That's a big deal right there. A big deal for our people, our children, and our self-security. We were able to get another officer for courtroom for security. Not just a bailiff, but also we have a deputy in there with them in case something goes wrong, because we got to protect the public when they're in court. We also recently were able to purchase new body cams. These body cams are great. Briefly, if you got a body cam on, or I got a body cam on, and you walk up to my area, your body cam turns on. If a weapon is pulled, everybody's body camera turns on in that area. This is a great deal, and a lot of agencies I've talked to would love to have that. Recently, we purchased with donations from the community, a canine dog from citizens and businesses donated a lot of money to get this canine. It's going to be a good tool to use. I didn't do this by myself. I had help from the Quorum Court because they approved what I asked for. And I want to thank them, and everybody should thank them. We went from one of the lowest paid counties in 2005 to now. We are one of the highest paid, we are the highest paid county deputies in Southeast Arkansas. And people marveled at that. I have a well-diversified department. That's what we need to talk about here. It's NAACP meeting. When I first came on, I promoted my friend and colleague, A.C. Simpson, to Sergeant of Patrol. You know, we all miss A.C. Simpson. He was one of a kind. I hired an African-American criminal investigator. He has since moved on, but at the time he was a very good investigator. At one time I had 4 African-Americans working on patrol. That's a big number. I don't think anybody in Southeast Arkansas can top that, but they were all good employees and good people. I have 2 now African-Americans, 1 female, 1 male. I have a total of 2 female patrol deputies. That's another standard that's raising the bar for Southeast Arkansas. I employed a young man that actually was A.C. Simpson's step-grandson. He was on my auxiliary. He worked for a summer and a few more months. He is employed by the Arlington Police Department in Texas. That's just another example of diversifying. Where we are a well-respected department in the state of Arkansas, especially Southeast Arkansas. I'm running for re-election because I love this job and the people I've served for nearly 18 years. I believe I have more to give back to this county and its citizens to keep improving our lives here in Drew County. I'm a proven, qualified, experienced leader at this job. I'm the same person I was in 2005 when I was elected. Just a little gray hair and a little bit more experience. I ask for your continued support and please see fit to re-elect me again on November the 8th. I need your vote. I need your support. I'm doing what the job needs to be done. I need your help. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Just to let some of the public know who's watching it, we're going to come back around after everyone speaks, and then we're going to have our question and answer then. Mr. Wesley Carnicle is managing that, and we do have your questions on board. So now we're going to go to Mr. Curly Jackson, and is Mr. Outlaw, is he on here? Okay. I thought, okay, he accepted, didn't he, Bettina?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Mr. Wardlaw, I told him my outlaws, too many officers. Okay, so Mr. Jackson, are you still there? Let me help him unmute you all. Give him a minute. Mr. Jackson is running for Arkansas House of Representatives, District 94. And let me tell you about his opponents while he's, who his opponents are, is Jeff Wardlaw and Don Baker. That's the last report that I have. Jeff Wardlaw and who is the incumbent, and then Mr. Curley and Mr. Baker. All right. Mr. Curley, you got some help to get off mute? All right, while we waiting on him, we'll save him for last if that's okay. He's working on it. We're proud of him for joining. All right, so we're gonna come to our only candidate that is here. The mayor's race consists of Mr. Jason Akers, Mr. Joe Rogers, and Mr. Bart Gregory. Thank you, Mr. Akers, for accepting our invitation tonight, and it's your turn. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Good. Well, my name is Jason. I'm the current chief of police here in Monticello. I began my public service career almost 29 years ago. I started off at the bottom of the ladder in Ashley County as a jailer, making minimum wage, and I worked my way up to where I'm at today. As I near the end of this career, the mayor's became very important. I love this town. I love the people, and I just believe that we can't expect our children to grow up and make the world a better place if we don't show them how now. My wife Tess and I have 3 boys, and Tess has 3 girls. So together we have 6 children and 3 grandchildren that rule the roost pretty much. We are a Monticello family, and I want to be raised here. I want my grandchildren here, and I want the ability for them to have a place that they can be proud of. So we're going to tackle this mayor's thing. And we're going to get Monticello on the track that I think our children and grandchildren deserve. I believe firmly that our community is at a crossroads. I believe what we do now in this election is going to set the tone for the next decade, maybe, or longer. And I don't trust our children's future to just anyone. And I know that it's my responsibility as a father and a husband to make this place as good as it can be. And I owe that to this town, and as good as it's been to me. And we're gonna give it a shot. So
all right.
I thought I lost you. We have in my tenure as chief of police, we've done a tremendous amount of things with the city, and we've done it through community related relationships. We've done it through coalition building. We've done it with critical thinking and planning. And these are the things that we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to move forward and to make the place better. So prior to working as being the chief, I signed to the prosecuting attorney's office for almost 2 decades, where I was ranging from drug cartels to public corruption cases. So I've got a vast amount of experience as it relates to leadership and in-depth problem solving, and I plan to bring that to the mayor's office. I'll bring it in January. It's going to be different. We're going to have some different approaches at things, and we're going to get organized a little better and differently, and hopefully more effectively.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Curley Jackson.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now, Mr. Curley. Go right ahead.
Thank good. Good afternoon. My name is Curley Jackson. I live in Wilmore, Arkansas. I run for district number 94 state representatives, which cover part of Bradley County, Drew County, and part of DeShay County. So my platform is still the same. I'm supporting women's rights, public schools, increasing teacher pay, and removal of asbestos pipelines from our water systems throughout this state. And also to cut back on wasteful spending at the highway department, and reform to the prison system and bridge and sewer improvement for all those small local communities. But one thing I want to touch on right this evening is this teacher pay thing. The teacher pay thing, this committee that they had to recommend a $5,000 bonus and a $2,000 bonus for non-certified. Our school district been doing that for several years. And I'm sure some of the other school districts been doing that too. So I think the teachers need a full out raise and also some help with their insurance as well. We are still in this pandemic, as the president said that a while ago when she chimed on, and we still need to be careful about it. And I admonish our students, I admonish our teachers, they still wear their masks, do a social distance if they choose to do so. Some people choose not to do so. We get a little slack on that, and we still have some numbers, people's in hospital and people still dying. So we need to be cautious about that. We are out here to improve some of the things that I think we need to be working on. And that is better jobs for disabled. If we go back, and some of you might be too young to remember, we go back to Arvin Automotive when it was here, it left in 1983. Those jobs haven't been replaced. Coca-Cola plant closed up. Those jobs haven't been replaced. Building Industry, which I worked at for 28 years, got a pink slip on April the 10th, 2001, 700 people. When I went there working 1972, it was 2,000 people working at that plant. Those jobs haven't been replaced. And the economic impact from those haven't been replaced either. That company used a lot of water and wells did the Coca-Cola plant. So I think I can do a better job than what's been done in the past on that end. But y'all citizen involved, I need y'all support though. I would call you to stand in the gallery and support me on these issues. I would not have an unlisted phone. You can reach me anytime of night. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you to everyone for your presentation. Did I miss anyone? I see telephone numbers. Did I miss any candidate that may have joined us by phone? We want to be fair, or I may have missed bringing you in the Zoom. Okay, if not, then we're going to move to our question and answer. I think it's all of you that are on the line. You have the opportunity. I'm going to move this over to my Vice President, Bettina Randall, to handle this part of the meeting. So candidates, get ready. She's going to take it from here. Miss Randolph.
Okay, so we have two questions that came from Facebook. Mr. Wesley just sent to me. The first one, they would like all the candidates to answer. If elected, what do you plan to accomplish in your first 90 days as sheriff? So I guess we'll just go in the same order that they did the introductions in.
Mr. Slaughter, Mr. Nichols, and then Mr. Gober.
Yes, ma'am. My first 90 days, my goals are to go through some of the open case files. Let's try to get some of the cases that are open that's been out there. Let's get them closed. Let's get a building relationship with these schools like I was speaking on earlier. Let's get some training, some classes. Like the sheriff said, we do have an SRO out there. I have recently been in contact with the superintendent at Drew Central and numerous teachers out there. And the main goal is getting classes and training into the schools for the students and the teachers. And then also let's get all the deputies and all the sheriff's department more training. More training automatically helps everybody. It's going to help the deputies, it's going to help the citizens, and it's going to help our sheriff's department, along with also the training and the classes out at the school.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll hear from Mr. Slaughter. Same question, and that was, if elected, what do you plan to accomplish in your first 90 days as sheriff?
All right, that's Mr. Nichols.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. First 90 days, it's going to be a lot. Okay. One of the things, like I said, I do establish administration that is there for the community people to enforce the laws and with the community be there. By doing so, we'll also meet with the deputies, the jail staff, and everything. We'll go through all that infrastructure. We've got to look at training. Yes, that is a big factor. Lack of training throughout the sheriff's office, throughout the schools, the jail is a big issue. But we've got to have the administration that's there to make sure that all that's taking place. I want to also look at the cases. There are cases that I've been told about that need to be addressed. We need to look at those. We need to look back at everything, go through them. If we got to, sign them to the state police, whoever we need to do, okay? We need to ask for those assistances. Also meet with the police department, the police chief, captains, lieutenants, sergeants. Meet with them. Meet with the campus police, and we have a meeting and we talk about what our agenda is, what we want to see happen. Meet with community leaders such as pastors. We've got to have that relationship. But that's first 90 days is building that infrastructure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll have the same question to Sheriff Gober.
Mr. Gober, you're muted. You're muted. Come off mute.
How about now?
Okay.
Yeah, the training, I'm sorry how that happened. The training's there. We continue training, like as these guys here know, training is ongoing. The biggest thing I'd like to do, and I'm continuing to do this as we speak now, but I want to really get the ball rolling, is like involving the community. The community needs to get more involved with law enforcement, and law enforcement needs to get more involved with the community. That takes, like I said a while ago, reaching out. You know, if there's a problem at a school, a church, a community, somewhere, reach out. We have the resources. We've used them in the past before to come help aid people in their decision makings, people if they're in a situation and need advice. Let us know where the crime's happening. Law enforcement doesn't do everything by itself. It takes the community to report it, and that's how cases get solved even. And we need more of that happen, because if you want a good community, then it takes good people reaching out for law enforcement, and I'm going to be there for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We had another question from Facebook. What can be done on the about the jail inmates being turned out shortly after being jailed?
Yes, ma'am. One of my goals is also, as when elected sheriff, is work on jail issues, which a lot of the public does not know about it. But with the inmates being released, the jail is allowed only so many bed spaces. I believe we need to prioritize what people do come into the jail and what people leave the jail. If we have a victim, then we're going to do what we can to hold that person through the process of the justice, have him a first appearance, get him a bond through a judge. Like I said, it's going to come back to prioritizing who you do and don't let out of jail. One of my ideas and my goals is, if you're going to release someone out of jail after having a bond, at least let's put an ankle monitor. That way we know where you're at. If you're an habitual and you keep breaking the law over and over and get released out of jail because they know the issues between the COVID and the jail space, then if we put an ankle monitor on them, we can keep track of those and we can clear our jail space up so we can get the most violent victims to be held where they need to be.
Okay, and now we're here from Sheriff Gober. No, not Gober, Nichols.
You're getting me all kinds of news tonight, aren't you? It's all good. All right, Tim Nichols, running for Drew County Sheriff. Again, for the question, the jail is a big issue. In my mind, in my opinion, and the opinion of the, not only in Monticello, but throughout Wilmer, Diller, you name it. Okay? Yes, COVID hit in 2020. That was a deal that caused a lot of problems for our jail system. However, we've got to adapt. We've got to figure out solutions. Being in the position that I'm in right now and at the department I'm at, we're a 24-hour holding facility. However, we try our best to make it to where we can find a bed for a person, especially a violent offender. Okay. So we've got to build those relationships with other jails, other counties. I don't care if it's in West Arkansas, Northeast, we've got to build it. We've got to go there. First appearances, they should be done on violent offenders. I don't care which way it is. If it's a violent offender, they should have the first appearance, no contact order issued, whatever. If there is a mental issue, we need to figure out what we can do with them. Hold them until they can seek treatment, find a bed for them, so on and so forth. Ankle monitors are, I've used them in the past, different cases. They're good. They're a good tool. They're an expensive tool to utilize, and a lot of people can't afford it. So we've got to look at all that as well. One of the other things I think we need to do is communication between the departments. If Monticello Police Department brings someone in and we don't have the bed space, the sheriff's office, the police department, the jail, we should all put our heads together and let's find a bed for a person. Let's find something, because our citizens deserve better. Our communities and our families deserve better. Our jail deserves better. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Sheriff Gober, same question.
Yes, ma'am. Sheriffs throughout the state of Arkansas and Arkansas Department of Corrections have been dealing with jail and prison overcrowding since the late 1990s. Okay. That's because people are held up in jail because nobody's being released from ADC, which they shouldn't be released from ADC. They should do their time. I do not turn away any violent offenders. They come to jail, even if we're full. It's up to the arresting agency to find them a jail space. We had one myself, our department, 2 of them actually. We called over 37 jails throughout the state of Arkansas. And we did find a bed space, but that was close to Missouri line. So we went the 9-10 yards to get that person taken somewhere, because you don't need to be on the street. If you got to put an ankle monitor on somebody, you might not want to release him. So I always tell the local police departments, if you got a problem with a person that's even a regular and he's causing chaos in the city of Monticello, you call me personally, and I will find a place to put him. We're going to be dealing with this for a while. It's not just COVID. It's just the protocols. There's been other departments been written up because they had too many inmates and not enough staff. And believe me, we're low on staff at my jail. Nobody wants to do that job hardly, but it's a tough job, and it takes good people to do that job. They deserve more pay, but we don't just release people. Nonviolent offenders, either they're released by the courts or the jail, but you have to have jail space. And if we can't find jail space, then that's up to the courts to release them. But violent offenders, drug dealers, domestic battery, they don't get released. They don't get released. And it's a tough job. And until you do the job, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates for sheriff, you guys will just stay right there close by. I'm gonna go to mayor for a moment. We have a few questions there, and then I'm gonna come back because we have more questions coming in for you guys. Okay, so yes, ma'am.
Did you see Nichols' hand up? Did you want to? His raised his hand.
Okay, Mr. Tim.
All right, I've seen that feature. I'll wait. How about that? I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Chief Jason Akers, we have a question that says, how will you be engaged and visible in the school system?
Uh-oh, Chief, you are muted. You got to start over.
Okay. We good?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe your question was, how would we be engaged in the school system?
And visible in the school system.
Visible in the school system. We have the best school district. No offense to the Drew Central folks, but I'm partial to where my kids go. We have been visible. We have reassigned. We've got a new SRO that started last year. That's Officer Jerome Perez. He's done a phenomenal job with the kids. He continues to amaze us with the job that he's doing out there. From a standpoint of visibility, we're there. I'm there every morning. I go out and stand in the line in the mornings and help get kids out of the cars. We had, some traffic problems at the first of the year, like we always do, because every mom and dad wants to take their kid to school on the first couple of days, as they should. And I started going out in the mornings, and it stuck. I got attached to those kids, and some of those kids got attached to me, and now that's one of the highlights of my day. It's helped us establish relationships inside the schools, and it has helped us bridge some gaps and coalition build with the school. And it's been phenomenal. So we're there. And if we had more people, if the city had more people, specifically the police department had more folks, in which we have been discussing that. We've been negotiating with the school board and some private entities to maybe obtain some more funding to put officers out there. But we would have more if we had the manpower to do that. And but right now we don't. We do the best we can with what we've got. But we want to have a strong presence in our schools for a couple of reasons. One, for their safety, but another is that if they get to know these officers early on, and these officers get to know them, we can change the perception of law enforcement by interacting properly with our youth. So we're there. I wish we had more folks to put out there, but we throw every resource we have at the schools.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question for you. If you received $1 million grant to use for the city in any way you want, what would you do with it?
Infrastructure. And I think about, when I think about cities and money, it kind of reminds me of the scene from the time when the ship's sinking and everybody's on the deck playing the violin like nothing's going wrong. We have a city that under the road that are from the early 1900s. We wonder why we sometimes have water issues and we have drain problems. This city, the infrastructure is decaying. When we talk about ballparks and ball fields, those things are important. And youth sports played a big role in my life as a young man. But there's a lady that lives off of College Street. And when it rains hard, her yard fills up with water. And she can't wash her clothes. So we have to first establish a mission statement for the city. And the very first thing that we have to establish is that we have to have a livable city. It doesn't matter. No companies are going to come here. Our children aren't going to stay if their communities are flooded with water every single time it rains. And today's problems are because yesterday's solutions weren't thought out well enough. And we've got to address these things head on. It's not pretty. The ditches and sidewalks being busted up for pipes to be replaced. It's not near as pretty as a new field or, rainbows and unicorns, but it's life. And it's what we have to do to make sure our citizens have good, safe communities that with good drinking water. Without water, the rest of this stuff doesn't matter. So we've got, I would say, infrastructure. I think we should start on our areas that have the oldest lines or are in the most repair. And let's make sure that we have the basic essentials every day before we spend that money on anything else.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
The next question, I will address it to Mayor Curley Jackson. Well, yeah, Mr. Curley Jackson. And that question is, what is your economic priority for rural Arkansas?
Oh, man. He's on mute. Ms. Randolph, you wanna go to someone else
You have to go.
until he gets off mute.
Okay. So we go back to the sheriff election. There was a question on Facebook for all of you candidates. Will you work on solving the Marquise Martin case? We will start with Mr. Slaughter, go to Mr. Tim Nichols, I got it right this time, and then Sheriff Gober.
Yes, ma'am. That is one also of the big goals of the first 90 days. I have spoke with the family, and I've also spoke with some state police.
I did
The
too.
Marquise Martin case will be picked up. Everything involving that case will be turned over to state police that has no ties to Drew County. It will be taken out of Drew County. If me, myself as sheriff receive information on the case, I will involve the case. I will look into it, but that information will also be transferred straight to the state police that will be over the case.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have same question to Mr. Tim Nichols.
Yes, ma'am. Tim Nichols. Yes, that is a big case. It's been open for the past couple of years. There are some things that I think we need to look at and get it into the right hands. We've got to get it completely over to Arkansas State Police or Federal Bureau of Investigation. And let's do what we can to bring closure and justice for this family. Not only do they deserve it, but the people of Drew County, because it's unsolved at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now Sheriff Gober.
Yes, ma'am. This is a #1 priority and has been. Tim Nichols said there's some things that came up and will be turned over. Well, he hasn't turned them over to the Sheriff's Department nor to State Police. State Police have been involved since day one. We continue to work with the State Police and also work with the FBI on some information, electronics and things like that. The state, although Drew County was in the lead on this, because it happened in Drew County, the state was called in from day one. But also you don't know this, but I know this, is the state police veers off and they go researching and interview people that are brought up during this. And whatever they do, they don't call me and contact me. They're doing their job as a state police. And you know what? That's what they're supposed to do. So we've been involved with the state police. We've been involved with the FBI. I've been involved with talking with Quantico weeks after the Marquise Martin came up missing. So to try to get satellite imagery and things like that. Unfortunately, we couldn't find nothing like that. But we're doing what it takes. We just need a break in the case. And sometimes things takes time, and I don't have time. But we're working on this. And if people would contact the Sheriff's Department instead of putting it on social media, because people take what you might have on social media and they add to it, and it disrupts the case. It's very important. There's nobody right now besides the mother of Marquise Martin that wants this case solved more than me. I'll guarantee you. And I hope that we do solve this, and we're not giving up on this case at all. We still continue to look. So if you have information, whether you're law enforcement or anybody else, contact us or the state police or the FBI and give them that information. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see Mr. Curly Jackson is back.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. So the question for you is, what is your economic priority for rural Arkansas?
Well, I ain't gonna say about rural Arkansas. I'm gonna say about Southeast Arkansas, Wilmer, Monticello, Tiller, Winchester, Region, Jerome, and try to get some jobs down here to keep our young people here and keep them moving to other states. But we're gonna have some help. We're gonna have to have some incentive money from the state government, like some of that $1.6 billion that they doing something with. But you have to have y'all help me do something, or whoever get in there. What if Warlow get back in there, I get back in there, he gonna have to have some help. We have this 300 and some acre intermodal been inside in almost 40 years. We ain't got a job on that yet. I'm not saying nobody not doing their job, but I think I can do better. We're gonna take some money. So if that process calls for some taxes, for some economic development taxes, improvement taxes, don't want y'all hollering and say, well, Curry, don't put taxes on us. Let's come on, pay your money and see the jobs come in.
That's right. Help us.
That's right. Bettina, Mr. Nichols has his hand back up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Nichols, and you are on mute.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. My name was brought up, so I figured I'd, if I can. Is that allowed?
Yes.
I have given information to the Arkansas State Police. I've turned it over to them that have been involved in the Marquis case. I've given it to Arkansas Police. I've talked to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I've even talked to the Drew Sheriff information that I had given to another agency. And the person was, did it go to another agency? So, but like I said, I have turned over information that people have come to me with, and that's all I can do at this time. And I have done that. So that's what I wanted to address. Thank you.
Okay, Chief Jason Akers, I have a specific question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And it says, what is the mayor's candidate plan to recruit new businesses to Monticello and Drew County?
I think that we have to be aggressive. Like I said, I've said this before. I believe our city and our town and actually our region in the state is at a crossroads. I think South Arkansas will go however Monticello goes. If we're successful, then we can pick up the other areas around us. But if we fall, I think it becomes a pretty bad situation. I think that the mayor's role, the city funds the MEDC annually. That part of that comes from the 1 cent sales tax that our citizens just voted back in. And, the mayors in the past maybe have been involved with MEDC, but I believe that we've got to do better in helping them. And I think that we need to all get on the same page as to what we're looking for, what we're trying to develop here. We also have a big issue with our labor shed, and that we've got, there's Interfor, there's Maxwell, there's Hood, there's all these places here now that are hiring, that they're needing people and they can't get enough workers to come. So we've got to do a better job at retaining our young people here, bringing people here, creating an atmosphere in our town that's not confrontational, that's open and inviting to everybody. And I think that that's something that when we look at businesses here or people are contemplating relocating here, that they're enabled to meet one-on-one with the mayor. And let's introduce these folks to the police chief and the fire chief and our UAM chancellor and our religious community. Let's let them feel like they're a part of something when they come here. And I think you'll find that it works. But I believe we have to be aggressive. And I think that it's not just incumbent upon the MEDC. I think it is incumbent upon the mayor to actively research and observe trends that are coming and jobs that are going to be needed, and actively solicit those jobs to get here and work in conjunction with the state. And let's utilize our senators and let's utilize our state reps. They're wanting to help. Let's get them in this game with us, and let's all get in the same boat and start rowing in the same direction and see what we can get here.
Okay, and while you're still up, what is your plan, if any, for the city's beautification?
Look, I just say this jokingly, but we go, I've got family in Florida, and when we go to Florida and when I drive through Vicksburg, Mississippi, there's two things that stick out in my mind about Vicksburg, Mississippi. One, they have a Crystal hamburger place. And if you know me, I think that's the best hamburger made. The other thing is when you drive under that wrought iron bridge, it has USM painted on it. That town promotes their college. When you talk about beautification, you cannot leave out the ability to integrate UAM into our town. When you leave the college and you come into town, you don't see anything. And that's partly the city's responsibility to do. If that college goes, we're all in a bind, and this town is in a bind. And we've got to do a better job about promoting our college, getting active with our high school here to retain students to go to UAM. And we've got to really integrate that into the beautification of our town. I think the lights in City Park, I think, are great. I think it's good for folks that like to walk. I think it creates a quaint and friendly and safe atmosphere. But I also think that 425 needs to be better lit. I think when you get into town on a rainy night, it's dark. And if you're going somewhere, if you're traveling somewhere with your family, you're naturally going to stop where it looks inviting and it looks clean and it looks like like a safe place to stop. So we've got to do better about creating an atmosphere that's quaint and functional.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a specific question for Mr. Slaughter. It's when you mentioned training in school, can you share what those trainings will be?
Yes, ma'am. To begin with is you got to divide your age groups, which in what you do the training with. A lot of people not familiar, but we have fentanyl that here is in Monticello now. The small, tiniest amount will kill several people. Certain age groups, I believe we need to get the training of what certain drugs look like, paraphernalia, what they do and don't need to be touching. If they see anything, who they need to notify, then go up to some age groups of like introducing them to the employment and what, the prison life will do to them. And then another big part of the training is getting the deputies interactive with the schools. That way, the children, the teachers, the whole staff, in case there is an active shooter, because it's happening it's happening all around us. That way, the children, the staff, the teachers, everybody will know what to do in case of emergency. And whenever you put the training on, like we're taught, you train like you fight. So you cannot have too much training. So the law enforcement interacts with the staff and the children. That way, if we're in there, the children can get used to the law enforcement being interactive with them, and they won't just get paranoid and panic when something really does happen.
Okay, thank you. I have another question from Facebook, and I guess any of you that know can answer. What is the cost per day to house an inmate in the county jail? And how many inmates in the county jail are waiting to be transferred to the state penal system?
It's probably going to be the sheriff a bit as far as how many inmates are waiting to be transferred. I have found out as far as the budget, it costs $60 a day is what I'm being told to house an inmate. I do know that the jail will hold 43 inmates. 6 of those are for 309s from ADC. Therefore, we've got the bed to hold 37 inmates from Drew County that we can house. I am still working on numbers, trying to get the numbers and the reviews of the jail, but I do not know how many active inmates are in the jail waiting to go to ADC, but I do know there is a lot of them in the jail and out on the streets that are actually waiting to go to ADC.
Okay.
Yes, as Mr. said, that number is about correct, about $60 a day. As far as the number on what, I have no clue on that. I've called up there for some information in the past, still gathering some information, but hopefully we'll out. If I may, real quick, and I hate to cut it short, but we're short staffed here at the police department, and I'm fixing to cover a shift for our officers. Anyone have any questions for me that I can address before I log off?
Ms. Randolph, I was gonna give each one of them about a minute to close if we didn't mention anything that they felt that they should have closing remarks. So if you want to give that, if that's okay, Ms. Randolph, if he can give that and then log off.
And I apologize again.
No problem.
We are short staffed. Law enforcement is a career that is made up of special people, and consider each one of these officers to be family. We may not see eye to eye on the line, but if I need to step up, we got it. So that's what we're doing. But as I said, I'm Tim Nichols. I'm running to be your next Drew County Sheriff. My goal is simple. I want to make Drew County a better and safer place to live, visit, but most importantly, raise a family, because family is what it's all about. Everyone on the screen, everyone listening has a family that they hold dear. We want to be part of that family. We want to help, administrative staff. We'll have the same goals set in mind, and that's to protect the people of Drew County, those that visited. It's not going to be an easy task a little bit, but we're going to make it. We're going to get to work. And, you know, if you have any questions, call me anytime, day or night. My cell phone number is out there. It's 870-723-4679. Again, that's 870-723-4679. Call me, ask me anything that you may have. I will answer to the best of my ability. If I do not, we will try our best to find the answer. I'll put you in contact with the person that can, okay? That's what it's about, teamwork. We've got to make it work. One Drew County is what we want to establish. One Drew County. Thank you. God bless. Elect Tim Nichols, your next Drew County Sheriff. Answer 24th and goes through November 8th. I hope to visit and meet with all of y'all soon. Thank you. God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. Okay, for the ones that are still remaining, we did have a couple more questions that came through. Ms. Pace, do you have some on your end?
I can't type what Mr. Pace want to ask, so if you don't mind him asking his own question, I can't even read his handwriting. So
this is a question for law enforcement. There's a lot of debate on, well, let me just say this way. I've been in education 37 years, and there's a lot of debate on, I hear a lot of the law enforcement saying more police in the schools. What is you all's take on guardians in the school?
I'm all for it if they have of course, pass a lengthy background check. The more people, the better off it is. We can't be in one spot or every spot all the time. It's something to look at, you know, kind of reach out and grow a new limb and discover new outlets and new ways of doing things. Get out of that tunnel vision. So I'm not against it.
okay.
I'm all for it. And like I said, Drew County, the Sheriff's Department is a small department. So therefore they cannot release all the deputies out there when they're also out here protecting the citizens of Drew County. But it goes back to the earlier, what I was talking about, being interactive with the schools, the deputies stopping by, going around talking to the kids, giving them someone to talk to, speaking with the teachers, helping out. Not only the SROs out there at full time during school, but let's look at the deputies. Me as sheriff, if elected sheriff, I will be out there interacting with the teachers in the schools and just involve all your deputies and sheriff's department and your law enforcement in the schools, in and out at all times. And let's just help the teachers and help the kids as much as we can.
One more thing. Sorry about that. I would like them to work, you know, the law enforcement has auxiliaries, okay? Special people that are not full-time, but part-time. I would like to see them come through my department. So that there's some type of organization and oversight on these people that will work out there, a place that they can report back to, establishing communication there. And again, I'm all for it.
No, when I say guardian, I'm talking about teachers. I'm talking about teachers being trained through law enforcement to carry on campus.
Yes, sir.
I agree with that 100%. And that goes back to training. Which you've been out to school, we don't want just anybody carrying a gun around our children. Right. But if you provide the appropriate training from the law enforcement side, plus these school standards, and if they go through the training through the sheriff's department and involve them with the deputies and have the teachers to have the training, then they're going to be trained and the teachers are already there. If something happens, the teachers are going to be there faster than law enforcement. So we need to provide the training for them as far as with the weapons and what to do and how to handle the situation. And I just think it's going to be, I mean, you shouldn't have a teacher that shouldn't be able to carry a weapon. So therefore, you know, whatever teacher wants to go through, get the proper training, then let's arm the teachers. I mean, because they're going to be the first one there if we need them.
Yeah, I would have to scrutinize every individual because not every teacher needs to carry a gun and or use a gun. So if you can pass my background checks, if you can pass our training, and we're very select, then you should be able to carry a gun. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question for Chief Jason Akers. And there are several more questions that are popping up on our Facebook page. So if you all will still just pay attention to the page and feel free to respond to those people that ask those particular questions. Okay, so Chief Akers, how do you plan to include minorities in the work for the city if elected mayor?
Yeah. Do you mean from a standpoint of recruiting? Is that your interpretation of the question?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that we've got to do, one of the things we've done real successful at the police department is that we have down a lot of barriers. One of the things that we've got to do, some of our best advocates are in the minority community. Have a racial diversity roundtable every year with local pastors from the African-American community. And it's been as beneficial as any other program that we've done. We have to become more approachable. We've got to learn to communicate and talk to each other. That involves listening sometimes twice as often as you speak. We've got to start listening to each other and breaking down the barriers that maybe make someone feel that they can't apply in a certain location or that they don't have a chance to start with. We've got to be approachable and we've got to be in the community. We've got to be known. We've got to be able to sit down and have conversations, maybe where we may not agree, but we can respectfully disagree. And that's something that you just got to have, but we have to be more approachable. I think that's the responsibility of the city. And I think that it's naturally, of course, it's some in part of the applicant, but we have to let people know that we are inclusive and we want everybody. We want the best of everybody here working for this city, whether it's in law enforcement or fire or public works or whatever the case may be. And we have to encourage that. And we have to showcase the benefits of staying local and living local and working local. But that comes from the mayor. The mayor has got to be known and the mayor has got to be approachable and articulate and be able to communicate that we want everybody to have a fair shot and a fair shake.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'll now give it back to President Pace.
All right, thank each and every one of you who have joined the meeting tonight, either through Facebook Live or by Zoom. I want to thank the candidates who have joined on tonight. You've been great tonight. All of those who are on Facebook, and again, I'm reiterating what Ms. Randolph has said. We have a time limit for our meeting, and we don't have the opportunity to continue to bring the questions forward, but we hope the candidates will go to that page and they will be able to answer any more of your questions. I want to give you the opportunity to each candidate to close out. I think Ms. Bettina went to the diversity. We are Drew County NAACP, and we are interested in seeing more African Americans, more other minorities, Hispanics, and so forth involved in the decision making, not just the work, but in ways, committees that are in the city. There's a limited amount of representation that we see, and we want to be visible. We want to be a part of that, and we hope that each of you will consider not just people that you're best friends with, but people in this community. There are several people in this community who are able-bodied, intelligent people who can help make decisions in this city. And so we just hope that you keep that in consideration. If you are elected, then let's talk. Let's be included. I'm gonna give you one closing. We have to have our members. We do have to close properly with the adjournment to vote, but I want to give every candidate 1 minute to close out tonight with anything you thought that you missed and make an appeal for why we should vote for you. Oh, let me say this. We just was reminded, if you're not a member of NAACP, my membership chair is on here. Listen, we invite you to become a part of the work of the NAACP 6042. We need you, okay? God bless you. And let's start with Mr. Gober, just because I see you first. We'll go to Mr. Akers. We'll come back around to Mr. Slaughter, and we will, Mr. Nichols is off and he already gave his, and we'll close out with Mr. Jackson. Go right ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I am a member of the NAACP, a proud member for many, many years. I encourage everybody to join. It's not just about race or color. It's about
Yes.
community relationships and getting together and listening and understanding each other. We all have a voice to bring to the table, but we got to bring that voice. It's like I said earlier, it's not just law enforcement that needs to reach across the lines a lot of times, but on the other side, reach across over there. You're going to find something good, as we always do when we reach across the lines. I've been here 18 years. It's not a long time. Some people might think it is. It's flown by, but I love this job. I can do this job better than anybody that's running against me. I know this. I have people in the community, long-standing friends and people that just meet me and encourage me to stay the course and continue to be their Drew County Sheriff. And I ask for your vote and your support. God bless you.
Mr. Akers.
Yes, ma'am. Look, this comes down to this. God's word tells us that life is just a vapor. And I use that phrase and that a lot. We have a very short amount of time on this earth. So the fact that you guys gave time to this shows that you care about your community. You care about what's happening. And I do too. And I care about what kids are going to grow up in. It's our time. And Dr. King, one of his best statements was, you know, we are the generation we've been waiting for. This is our time. We've sat back long enough. We are in positions of leadership and we've gained years and decades, in my case, almost 29 years worth of experience. And I plan on putting that to use before I'm done in my time in public service. I need your vote in November or October if you early vote. My name is Jason Akers and I will be your next mayor. With your one other thing about the NAACP, if you guys aren't members, join. If you want to learn something, if you want to expose yourself to all types of information to learn to be a better community, this is one of the premier entities in our county. Ms. Pace, not saying it because you're sitting here, but you've done a phenomenal job with this thing. And I hope that
Yes.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Slaughter.
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, first, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to be here and to speak and give some of my ideas and my goals. My number's out there also. It's 224-2922. It's going to take more than just my ideas to make it a better place, a better county. It's going to take everybody's ideas. It's all the questions. I have been out there going door to door, talking to people, trying to get suggestions. And I'm not only out there for the votes, I'm out there for suggestions, ideas, and concerns. I do think that I am the better choice to become the sheriff. I think it's time for a change. Drew County's been at an idle. I believe I am that man for change, and I think we can make it better, and we can get out there and we can start fresh with a change, and we can do a world of difference. Like I said, James Slaughter, elect me as your next sheriff for Drew County. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Curley Jackson.
Yes, ma'am. We want to thank everybody for listening. We want to thank Mrs. Pace and her bunch for inviting me on. I'd like to say this. I'd like to encourage the people to stand up for their own rights, not just cause I'm running, but even if I'm not successful, which I'm intending to be if God will, but stand up and be counted. Challenge the elected officials in office, me as well as others, to do their job and hold us accountable for their engaging needs. It's okay to put a little article in the paper and say a few nice words or something, but engage us in some meetings in the public, small meetings in churches or clubhouses or whatever it may be. And I encourage you to do that for me. And I think I can do a better job than what's already being done at this particular time from this area. Thank you.
All right, thank each of you and thank those, Ms. Patina Randolph who assisted tonight. We want to thank the Public Relations Committee, which is represented by Mr. Wesley Carnicle, who have done a great job keeping us on task, both on Zoom and on Facebook. Now we need a motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight.
Jerome Pace, motion that our meeting be adjourned.
Madam President, it's Pastor Buffington. I second that motion.
It's been moved in second to adjourn the meeting for tonight. All in favor, vote aye. In your chat, and we shall be dismissed for tonight. God bless. And see you all next month.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.